The C.J. Howard Show. Now let's go to C.J. Howard. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 8 of the C.J. Howard Show. I'm C.J. Howard, live from my home in Barberville, Kentucky. We've had a little bit of a wild time here the last hour and a half. Want to get right off the bat and explain to why John Noble could not be with us tonight. He had a family situation he needed to take care of, and it was the last moment, so he had to back out. He did feel bad about it. I told John, I said, family is first. I can always try to find somebody else, and boy, did we find somebody else to replace him tonight. We're going to get to him just in a moment, okay? We're going to get to our guest first. We got Travis McDaniels going to be with us from Knox Central here in about 10 minutes. Chris Larkey's going to join us at 8:30 from North Laurel. They're coming off a huge win over the crosstown rival South. I failed to mention about Knox Central's head coach. They were off this week at an open date, so they chose to get some people healthy. Jeff Drummond's supposed to join us at 9 o'clock. We're going to talk about UK last night and the coming up game Florida. And then Courtney Brewer will join us at 9:30. And we're going to talk about week 5 and going into week 6. And we're also going to discuss with her the field for the boys and girls WYMT Mountain Basketball Classic. Gracious enough to step in at the last moment, the head girls basketball coach of Lexi County Lady Eagles, the legend in coaching. When it comes to coaching, this is the name that you'll hear. Legendary head coach, Mr. Larry Sparks. Coach, thank you for being with us tonight. I appreciate it very much for you coming here last moment.
CJ, always happy to help out and to be with the golden voice here on Sunday night. I mean, what more can anybody ask for? I feel blessed to be here with you.
Yeah, should be a fun show. We got a lot going on. First of all, let's check in with you. I know we're a couple of weeks away from the official start of high school basketball practice. I know you, the girls have been doing some stuff on their own, weightlifting, running, preparing for the coming season. Talk about that. What have you been into?
Helping with conditioning. We've been doing, excuse me. We've been doing some conditioning. Our numbers are kind of small right now. Some of our kids are playing volleyball, and we've had a couple of girls that are recovering from knee surgeries that they had back in the early summer. And of course, we've had COVID issues, and we've had either quarantine issues, and so it seems like we've not had a lot of kids involved right now, and all of our elementary folks that are involved, or middle schoolers, are doing their own thing with their middle school teams. But Friday, we had 8 that were out participating, some of them in limited capacity because they are still recovering from injuries, but had some really good workouts. So we're just trying to get stronger and get faster. If we get an opportunity to get in the gym and shoot a little bit, we do that. They're great kids, and we're excited about this upcoming season. Ended up basically we lost one player, graduated Macy Fee, and Emily Bolin graduated, but she came back as a fifth-year student like others have chosen to do. So that was a big plus for us. She started the last 3 seasons for us, I think, already, if I'm not mistaken, I think, and had a really good summer. So we're just looking forward to the upcoming year and getting started with formal practice and, have big expectations for this season.
Oh, I know. This team got everybody back. Last year was more of I think with COVID going around, the atmosphere for the girls didn't really, or any team playing, really didn't seem to be there. The play level was not as high. I was just mentioning it in football with the crowds back. The level of play is unbelievable. Do you think that's going to help basketball tremendously? I think that's what's going to be a big boost in the arm.
last year was just something that none of us had ever gone through before anywhere. And, you didn't know day to day if you were going to be able to practice, if you were going to be able to play your game. Everything got scooted back to January the 6th or whatever it was when we started last year. And, that it went as well probably as it could considering what we were all dealing with. But, again, you did have limited, fans in the buildings. And that's what makes it fun is when you've got, packed house and you've got, a lot of folks there just, cheering and hollering and get excited about the games. And it got better as we went out. And by the time the tournaments rolled around, we had good crowds and things. We really did. But it was just unknown of it all. And then something would pop up, maybe even not with us or with another team in the region, but throughout the state or even nationally, that would scare you. I mean, it was COVID, and you were always worried about, are we going to have an outbreak or not? And we tried to be really careful, and we were blessed. We managed to get through the season really, almost untouched, I guess, as far as our team was concerned, as far as COVID was concerned. But it was different for sure. And I think this year, I hope we'll have the opportunity for a lot more normalcy and things.
I'm sorry, Coach. We have a phone call.
Okay.
I believe we got Ryan Farmer on the line with us. Ryan, go ahead. We are doing good on this Sunday evening. What about you?
Okay, how you doing, John?
No, we don't have John with us. We have Coach Sparks with us.
Okay, Larry Sparks.
Yes.
Don't be disappointed now, Ryan.
You're still a legend, man. A legend before John Noble was.
I don't know about that.
What's on your mind, Ryan? What's on your mind?
Well, I don't know what's on my mind, but I'm just questioning about Larry. It's going to be another competitive year in this region. What are your thoughts about that?
I didn't catch all that, CJ.
He said, wants to know what your thoughts about the region. Who are we looking at?
Oh, listen, this region is going to be really good this year. There are going to be a number of teams that can beat any of us on a given night. Knox County and Owsley County, come back with really strong teams. Letcher County comes back with a really strong team. Perry, Estill, just I think that's the main, the ones that come to mind right off the top. But they're going to be some really good players. We've got really good coaches at every school, and it's going to be real competitive in the 14.
That's going to be a heck of a game, Ryan. I think it's going to be the best game in the mountains. I think North Laurel's for real. I really do. I watched him on Thursday night against South. They're loaded. They've got probably the best team I've seen them have probably since Larkey when he first got there. Now you got to go to hostile territory in the Southwestern. I think these are the two best teams in that district. This is a big game, not for just district, but for as far as the playoffs is concerned. Because if the winner of this game is not going to have to leave the confines of their home. So, and it's a big game. We're going to talk with Coach Larkey here in just a little bit, but it's a game I think that both teams know that whoever gets it is going to have the upper hand in the playoffs. Well, I agree with you. I don't think it gets past 20 points, 21 the most. I think Southwestern's not been tested. I mean, they lost the one game, but they was in a shootout. North Laurel was very good defensively. They really rush the passer at an aggressive pace. So Southwestern's really going to have to be aware of that. And Coach Larkey ain't had this type of defense for a long, long time. And I think they're going to make a lot of impact on Friday night. All right. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it very much. All right. Ryan Farmer checking us out, wanting to talk to us there. He brought up an interesting point. We're going to get more into basketball a little bit later, Coach, but Would you agree with me that the regional championship game was one of the best games ever in the history of this region?
It was incredible, CJ. That was an incredible basketball. You're talking about the girls' final, right?
Yeah, the girls' final, yes.
Yeah, I mean, that was it was unbelievable. I mean, you would think one team, had it, and whether this is it, it's done, and then a couple of amazing things that happens, a couple of threes here and there, or a missed foul shot, a made foul shot, a big defensive play. Yep, that was a tremendous game. Excellent game.
Missed free throws seem to be the invite of the whole tournament from start to finish. If Prairie Central hits their free throws, I think they're going to Rupp Arena. Because,
probably.
Free throws were huge in this tournament.
And that's what we preach to our girls constantly: make your foul shots and make layups. And I know that sounds like a simple, maybe some people might say too simple philosophy, but it's just the truth. If you can make 70-75% of your foul shots and make your layups and other easy shots around the basket, you're going to be in every game and win most of your games. There's other things you've got to guard and you've got to rebound, but offensively, make your foul shots and make layups and the other easy ones around the basket, and you're going to be good.
You was talking about fifth-year seniors come back. We haven't disposed of Lexi Lynch from Owsley County. She chose to come back and do a fifth year.
Right.
She was highly recruited by several schools, choosing to come back. What kind of impact does that put on Owsley? Because they had a pretty decent team coming back, but for her to come back, I think that just put them up there with Fletcher and not again. What do you think?
No question. Coach Smith, good friend of mine, he does a great job. And we talk, fairly regularly. I can't swear to this, but I believe Lexi is fairly young. I think she was a younger player and felt like, she could really benefit from another year in their program. And they're going to be right there at the top. I mean, like I said, Coach Smith does an excellent job. Carly Smith is a really good player. Little Terry girl shoots the ball extraordinarily well. And then they've got other players that come in and play their roles. I mean, they're going to be hard to beat.
I thought their bench really helped them out in the tournament. And the starters didn't really play well a couple games there, but their bench really bailed them out a couple games.
I thought Coach Smith did an excellent job of developing his bench over the course of the season. And they came along, as the year went. And they had issues. They went through a COVID, break, their pause at one point and things. I think they couldn't maybe play in the they were supposed to play in the YMT.
Yep.
And that's just an example of one of the things that set people back. And because you'll start and you get on a little bit of a roll and have some momentum, then you have to stop. And it was just tough on everybody. But Coach Smith has put Owsley County, girls basketball on the map, and they're going to be good every year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Travis has done a good job down there. We talked with him a couple of times last year, and I told him, I said, your younger kids is what really shines. Mm-hmm. I said, you got a bunch of older kids, but your younger kids is where you really are developing. And I said, you're getting a lot out of them. Oh,
yeah. He does a really good job.
All right. With us, Coach, is Coach McDaniels, the interim coach at Knox Central of the Panthers here in Barberville. Coach, it's good to have you on the show.
Hey, thank you for having me. Appreciate what you guys do, reaching out to coaches and, representing programs and players across the Tri-County.
Yeah, always willing to get you guys on the show as much as we can. Coach, as we get deep in the season, we're already into week 5. I can't believe this season is flying by. So far, talk about your team a little bit, because this is your first year. You took over for Coach Fred Hoskins, who took an administration position in the school. So you had actually been helping Coach Hoskins as assistant coach. But talk about your team, because you've got a really good quarterback that everybody's talking about.
Yeah, I came to Knox Central last year as an assistant after several stops in other places, and Coach Hoskins offered me a job that it was hard to turn down, and just the people at Knox Central was just great, and really happy to take that job at the time, and this year he, the timing, I told him, I said, man, could you not have been a principal at any other time? The fact that it happened in late July, but the transition, it was smooth. Me and him worked together well on that. And he's obviously still involved with our program, helping as much as he can. And, that says a lot about him as a person. But our program, we're extremely young. We lost 18 seniors off of last year's team, and a bunch of seniors that had played all 4 years of high school. And I was fortunate to get to coach them 1 year, but we returned talented players this year, but not a whole lot of experience. And guys like Steve Parton and Gavin Chadwell, they played as freshmen. So yeah, they're experienced, but it's still a tough transition, high school football. And, guys like Abe Brock, has some experience, but overall, like our offensive lineman, Jacob Osborne was really the only one with any experience off of last year's team. So, we're still trying to gel some of that together, still trying to gel it together from an offensive and defensive standpoint, still trying to find our identity, and I think that's what these games in the before district are for. You want to win them all, but you're playing for October. And, we're about to hit that point. So, we're excited about what we have. Obviously we're like everyone else. We need to stay healthy. We're working to build depth. And, if we do those things, we'll be all right come October.
You got Bourbon County coming to town on Friday night. You had an open week this past week. You had a chance to get some people healthy. And I think that's key for you.
Yeah, absolutely. We've not been too banged up. We have dealt with some sickness, all of it not COVID related. We've had some people quarantine here and there, but it's when you say the word sick now, you got to be careful because everyone automatically assumes COVID. But we've had different sicknesses, stomach viruses and things like that. So we've had a chance to kind of get healthy. We tried everywhere in the world to find a game. Although it was our bye week after we lost the South Laurel game due to COVID, which they had some players and coaches dealing with that, and our prayers went out to them during that time. It's obviously a difficult thing, but we tried everywhere in the world to find a game. I think I ended up emailing 27 schools between the state of Kentucky and the state of Tennessee, and it just couldn't work out. So we took the bye week as an opportunity to to work on what we needed. We showed some things in the Paintsville game that we needed to work on, and that's surely what we did.
You played a very tough schedule. You won your 3-2 coming in. The Paintsville game got away from you late, but your kids didn't have to really come back out the next week and worry about that because they got a chance to get better in practice. Now that you got Bourbon County coming in, you got district play. Talk about that because your district's tough. I mean, there's 4 teams, and all 4 teams, I think, are really good. I think can beat anybody on a given night.
Well, coming off a Paintsville game, first, Paintsville is a very good football team. A lot of people get caught up in looking at classifications, and they think, that's a 1A school versus a 4A school, and you can't do that. I mean, you still got to line up as 11 on 11. They came off a state championship, so they were a good football team. And but I was proud of our kids in the way that we fought. We played as hard as we could, and we ask them that every week. Give us everything you got. We'll check out the scoreboard at the end of the game. But we done some things in that game we got to get better at. We got to find ways to run the ball better and throw the ball better and protect the ball. You can't turn the football over and win in high school football or any level, for that matter. And, that's something we've emphasized this week during the bye, and something that we'll try to take care of versus Bourbon. Now, Bourbon, they are their record's kind of deceiving. Very athletic, very fast, returned an experienced quarterback. Got a wide receiver that's as fast as anybody we're going to play in Jaden Commodore. Got a running back that looks about like Eddie Lacy or even Derrick Henry, if you want to go that route. So we're going to have to game tackle him. And they do have a lot of athletes, and, but it's, these games are preparing us for our district. I would put our district up there, probably with any district in the state of Kentucky as far as teams from top to bottom. As far as how good everyone can be. Obviously, Corbin, extremely talented football team. Wayne County every year. And then Lincoln County, I feel like their record's kind of deceiving as well. I know they've had some injuries and some COVID issues. So, we're going to have to bring it every week. But I feel like our non-district schedule has prepared us for that. And, we're going to roll our sleeves up and kind of, go to fight a little bit.
Coach Sparks, you got any questions for Coach McDaniels?
Yeah, I do. Coach, my background is more in basketball and earlier in my career, baseball. I coach cross country and things. But let me ask you a question. You're talking about the turnovers. And myself, probably like a lot of people, watched Kentucky play last night. I think 4 fumbles. And you can tell a lot of that, or I believe some of that must be mental at some point. But as a coach, and you're trying to, help your team to take care of the football. And what do you do in practice to improve ball security in games if it's an issue with the team?
Emphasize ball security. Our players probably get tired of hearing me saying high and tight, carrying the football high and tight at all times. And, anytime you see a turnover in football, you see the football loose and you see it off away from a player's body. And, we emphasize, carrying the ball high and tight on top of our numbers, squeezing both points of it. But think about any football turnover that you see in football, especially some type of fumble, it's caused when guys get the ball loose from their body. It allows players to put their face mask on the ball or punch. And I just think you have to emphasize that. I think in everything that you do, it all comes down to how you practice it. And, and it can be mental. I think at times that, that gets in the back of a guy's head, or maybe not the guy that fumbled, maybe another guy on the team, thinking, I just saw him fumble. I hope I don't do it. Then all of a sudden they make that mistake. But I think, in a game, you got to keep, trying to support them. Obviously you don't want to get, you might want to say a few things to them, but you don't want to ride them too much. They obviously didn't fumble the ball on purpose, just like in any other sport. You throw the ball away in basketball, or, make a mistake defensively. The kids, they don't do that on purpose. I think we have to remember that they're kids and that they're going to make mistakes.
Are there drills designed to promote ball security?
Absolutely. We do rip and strip drills that actually helps ball carriers, but also helps from a defensive perspective as well, as far as ripping and stripping the ball. But we'll do tunnels of ball security to where players have got to run through them, and guys poke at them and jab at them, different things like that. But at some point too, it's you can yell all that stuff, but it comes down to players doing it, right. And that's something you just got to keep emphasizing as a coach. And like I said, they probably get tired of hearing us say things like high and tight. And, and also you give credit sometimes to the defensive player. Sometimes they make a really good play on the ball and they find a way to strip it, just like in any other sport.
Right.
Saw that example last night in the University of Cumberland's game. One of the Southeastern players were running. He had he was 40 yards away from the defender. And out of nowhere, one of the Cumberland's players had run him down, poked the ball out. It went out of the back of the end zone, touchback. And the Cumberland gets the football back. So that's just no matter what you talk about, Coach, hustle. And that was big time hustle, because they can't come from the midfield stripe to run him down.
Absolutely. There's 2 plays in football over the years that always stand out to me. I think one of them was a Super Bowl between the Bills and the Cowboys, where maybe the Cowboys defensive player had picked it up and was trying to maybe hold the ball down. And I think maybe Don Beebe of the Bills ran him down and poked it loose and caused a touchback. And then I always think back to the 1992 Sugar Bowl with Alabama and the U. The night Alabama laid it on them. And Alabama player, George Teague, I think it was, I'm trying to remember. I think it was George Teague that ran a Miami player down and stripped him just from a hustle effort. And, he done that by his effort and his ability, but also the fact that the guys didn't take care of the football the way you're supposed to. So, but those plays over the years kind of stick out to me on things like that.
Got anything else you want to ask him, Coach? Ask him?
I'm good, I think.
Okay. Well, Coach, it has been an absolute honor to have you on the show. I know, let's get everybody again up to date. You got Bourbon County coming in on Friday night. 7:30 kick here at Knox Central. Then you actually have got 4 of your remaining 5 games at home, so you got to feel good about that. Only road trip you have, long trip to Wayne County. I took it with Knox Central a couple of years ago. We went up there and played, and in a game, thought the Panthers could have won when they had those 2 running backs that were really good, and game got away from them in the 4th quarter. But Coach, you're having great success, and it's been an honor to talk to you. Would you come back again? I'd like to have you back on here when we talk some more.
Absolutely. Anytime I can sit down and talk football, I'm willing to do that. And anytime I can talk about some of our kids of our program that we're building at Knox Central, then I will happily do that. And but you make sure you tell Coach Larkey when he comes on, if he wants to give me some of his guys, we'll take them too. He's a good friend. He's a good friend. I don't want that to sound like I'm recruiting him or anything.
I'll ask him if you can borrow when you play some of your bigger games coming up here in a couple weeks, Coach.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely been an honor to have you on the show, and we'll get you back on here again. And good luck to you, Coach, and good luck to the Panthers.
Hey, thank you, guys. Go Panthers.
Yeah. Thank you, Coach. Coach Travis McDaniels of the Knox Central Panthers. I think, I'll be honest, I would have told him that I think he deserves the job. I think what he's done, considering getting the interim, I think he deserves to get the job full time.
I think that program is really, an up and coming program, and they've had good success. And it's like you said, they played a tough schedule this year, and they're in a tough district, but they're hanging in there and doing well. And with the young team, if you can compete when they're young, that bodes well for you going forward. He seems to know what he's talking about.
Mac Ward, his quarterback, is a real deal. He's averaging about 265 a game in the air. He's got some good numbers. I thought I saw in the stats he was rated 7th or 8th in the state in passing. So he's a heck of a quarterback.
The kid that played center for them on their men's basketball team, isn't he a really good football player? Maybe already been offered tight end.
Chadwell, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Isn't he something special? He was a really good-looking basketball player as a freshman or whatever. Was he a freshman last year?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's sophomore this year.
And they say he's a really good football player as well.
He's a freak player. You watch him play. He's so athletic on the field. And I watched them in the first game of the season when they played Clay County. They came out and they really got after the Tigers. And I think it stunned them a little bit because they were so shocked that Knox Central could throw the ball. Knox Central had about 300 passing yards in that game. And you would have thought Clay County would have had the 300 passing yards because they have the Rice kid who's a really great quarterback. Yeah. But, they turned the tables on them that night. So
does he play both ways, CJ? Do you know?
He did not play any defense in the game I watched. Now, he may be playing now. I know a lot of coaches have been putting their quarterbacks in to play safety. So I can tell everybody when we played Martin County the other night, Wyatt did not play defense. He only played offense because he was a little banged up and he was good enough to play quarterback, but he was not strong enough to go both ways. So hopefully we'll have him back to full strength this week to play the Middlesboro at home. Had some other kids out Friday night when they played Martin County. I know Wyatt was out, was not COVID related. He was out with a flu. Dalton Baker was out with a hamstring, I believe. Then they had a couple other kids get hurt during the game. But I think those kids, I've not heard nothing on those kids yet. Big game for the Eagles this week coming home. It's the last 2 home games. Mm-hmm. They got Middlesboro, and it being Mary Breckenridge week, plus a lot going on, so it's going to be chaotic. And then next week is going to be even a bigger game because where Knott County lost to Morgan County Friday night, Lexi County has to beat Knott or they won't get in the playoffs. So it's going to make that Knott County game big time stakes. And Knott County's not that bad defensively. The other night against Morgan County, they really held them in check. Morgan County scored on the opening drive. But Knox County held them down. But Morgan County's defense was really good Friday night. So
I would just like to see Coach Melton get his group healthy. I talk to him almost every day, it seems like, or every other day. And, how you doing? How's everybody getting along? And they've had COVID, they've had injuries, and, it's just been, he's not had his whole team out there. And, if we can get everybody healthy and get them all out there together one night, I think they're capable of playing really good football. But you got to get them healthy.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, Coach. I'm just texting Coach Larkey and let him know I'm ready for him. He told me to do that. I just reminded myself because I would make sure that he was ready to come on. We'll hear from him just a little bit, North Laurel's coach. Yeah, got to get healthy. That's the big. I don't know if Dalton Baker will be back. Watch, hopefully, will be back Friday night. Dalton Baker, though, it don't look like he'll be back probably until, I don't know, Breathitt County maybe the next time we see him. I don't know, depending on his injury. I know Coach Melton was going to have him get checked out some more and see what the process was going to be, how long he's going to be out. So we're going to find out more about that. Hopefully somebody may know his progress. So not being out there the other night really hurt the Eagles because Dalton is a tremendous receiver. So is White.
They really miss those guys.
Mm-hmm. And then, I thought, Martin County was not a bad football team, but it's hard to prepare for a team that runs that wing T and you don't know where the ball's going.
That's true.
Yep. Now with this coach, we have the head man of the Laurel Jaguars, veteran coach Chris Larkey. Of course, everybody knows him, of course, of his dad, Tom Larkey. Coach, it is an honor to have you on the show. And he's spitting. Can you hear us, Coach? Can you hear us?
I got you, man.
Okay, thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. First of all, congratulations on your opening district win the other night. That was an impressive win. You went. Your team was very, very impressive. I was sitting there watching, and I think you're a contender for a 5A state title. I really believe that. Now, you showed me some really good stuff there Friday night. Talk about your team a little bit. I'm excited about them.
Well, we started a lot of young kids last year. We only lost 5 seniors, so we got a lot of guys back, and that's a big difference. And just hopefully, that they keep playing together like they are. There's no jealousy. There's no resentment. They just like each other. They hang out with each other all the time, and they just do good. I mean, they're learning still. I mean, they're still young. I mean, we started about 8 sophomores, and they're still learning how to play football. Thankfully, we got some good juniors and seniors that's helping guide these guys, and it's all blending together.
I was amazed by your defense. I mean, your offense was 61 points. Everybody's going to say, well, that's impressive. But your defense was nasty. I mean, they were all over the field. I mean, South had very little time to do anything. And you coach defense because you do a really great job. This is probably the best defensive unit you had.
They're very fast, and Friday and Thursday when we play South, it's a little different, game because it's a rivalry, and we want to go out there and be very violent and play hard and be rough and impose our will on the other team. So I thought we did that.
Yeah, you did definitely. Yeah,
just the speed. Our defense has gotten so much faster, and we're still young on defense. We got, I think, 6 sophomores that start on defense. And just our defensive line, our nose guard is one of our tailbacks. I mean, he's just an animal. And then we got another guy over there as player of the week last week in 13th region. He is he's great. We got another kid been offered by EKU. We got guys that can run and play and hit, and they want to hit you. I mean, they want to impose some pain on people. That's great. You got to have that to play great defense.
You got a monster game that's coming up this week against Southwestern on the road. This is a Southwestern team that's they're better what their record shows. They play hard. I'm expecting a very low scoring game, but I expect your team to really be able to really hurt Southwestern defensively because I don't think they've seen a defense nothing like they're going to see Friday night.
Well, Southwestern's only lost one game so far, and they had a lot of kids out that were quarantined in that game against Mercer County. But what a lot of people don't realize is last year's Southwest Pulaski team almost beat Frederick Douglass.
Remember that.
In the semifinals. So all those seniors that were going to graduate, they all stayed back. So they're all fifth-year seniors. So we got a bunch of guys that's 15, 16-year-old going to go up and play against a bunch of guys that's almost 20 years old. And they got some good players. I think they had a transfer come in from Russell County. I think he was their best player last year. And he's one of their starting running backs. And they got another kid. I mean, they got guys that can run. I've seen them run in track, and they're fast. I mean, they're super fast. It's going to be a challenge there, guys. I mean, there's no way we're favored in this ball game. They've got the experience. They run right at you and try to beat you down. I mean, because they can. And that's how they win is they run right at you, and they pretty much try to impose what they can do on you because they're very physical and they're old. I mean, they're a big-time veteran football team. And we're going over there where it's hard to win at Southwest Pulaski. So hopefully our guys will get ready. I mean, if you don't win this game, then, you still got to bounce back and play next week. And who knows what happens? You get stuck in a three-way tie. Some of the teams we beat, we got more points, and we ended up winning the district. So you just never know what can happen because one game's not going to make one district loss or win. Whatever, it's not going to make or break you. But, it'd be great to win regardless.
I don't think your team's going to be intimidated Friday night. I really don't. I think you're going to go over and show that how North Laurel football is supposed to be played. The other team in this district is Pulaskis County. I feel like when the Paulson kid is in the game, Pulaski County is just as good as Southwestern and you guys. But when he's not in there, they struggle on offense.
We play with a guy that's around so long as him. I think he's been there for about 20 years now playing quarterback. And disconnecting me. And I think that, Pulaski got an awesome football team. That's who we got to play the next week. So, I said, you got to play your 8 games, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be a physical game in that game too. And Polson kid, he's a big old quarterback. And God, he's a good kid. He's a good football player, and he's got a lot of weapons to play with too.
Your district people don't realize your district is tough. Whitley County's not bad. They're capable of beating you on a given night. You played South, but we know South's going to get better and better as the years go along. Coach Irwin's going to get that program where it needs to be. But would you prefer to play 4A or 5A? I know that your enrollment keeps you in 5A, but would you like to play in 4A? Because I think that if you're a 4A school, you really would be in the driver's seat.
Well, 5A.
I know realignment's coming up 2 years.
Yeah, it's it's supposed to came up last year and they didn't do that. Another thing is, that I disagree with, and so does every single coach in the state of Kentucky and the AD, is we have to turn right around and play in the playoffs the same district that we play. And that makes it worse for us, and it makes it great for some schools because their district's not very good. Mm-hmm. But for us, it's a brutal district, and especially the two Pulaski schools. And so I just like it when you played other districts and you can make rivalries and go travel and see other schools and see what they could do. And it was just more fun, and it's more interesting for the fans because, I know why they do it in baseball and but we're not baseball and basketball. And they don't need to treat it like that, but it is what it is. But 4A, they're loaded in 4A too. I mean, you've got Corbin, you've got Boyle County, you have Johnson Central, Lexington Catholic. I mean, there's some really good schools in 4A, just like there is in 5A. And, sometimes it might be easier in 6A in the playoffs, but other than they're playing our same district. But
Thought about that.
It's going to be tough either way, but we're going to play it like it is and just see what the heck can happen.
Coach Sparks, you got any questions for Mr. Larkey?
I don't know what you guys have got in the water over there in Laurel County and London, Coach, but you're talking about your team being so young, and like I know I coach girls basketball, Leslie County, and I know that the girls basketball team over there is young and good, and I know the boys basketball team is pretty young and good too, and you guys got it going. It's amazing what everybody's doing over there. We all need to kind of take some notes, but let me ask you this. Not everybody's got a dad who's won, 300, I don't know how many games, but, do you ever get, I'm sure you do, but tell us a little bit about conversations you have with him. You pick his brain a little bit. And
I do sometimes, but he I don't have to pick his brain because he offers me advice all the time.
Okay. Well, that's good.
He just freely gives it to me. And but whether I want it or not, he'll give it to me. Like
That's
he did
great.
in films, he'll throw his 2 cents in. But even when my dad coached, the game's changed so much, and you have to change with it if you have to, especially with the types of players you get. Yeah. And these are not the same teams that he coached in the 80s and the 90s and even in the early 2000s.
Right.
And when the pass was actually invented sometime around that era. But with those ball wrote his whole entire career, I'm sure.
But listen, what he did worked. I mean, it worked for him.
He's been around these kids, and our kids know him, and they have utmost respect for him because they know what all he's accomplished.
Right.
And he likes coming out and being part of it. And he still helps me out quite a bit. And he still likes to get in there and help coach the linemen. That's what he always liked doing. And he'll tell me, just go on away, just leave him with me. Don't come here and bother. I don't go there and bother him. I'll just stand there, let him do it his own way.
That's great. He's definitely a legend.
Coach,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Coach Marks. I'm sorry.
Like these county schools that we got, we're not these independent schools and private schools. So these county schools, they run in cycles with athletes. You have a great run for about 4 or 5 years, and somewhere it always drops off. And we've been through that drop off, and we've had in 2015, we had some great football teams. And then it dropped off, and that's what county schools run through. They run through cycles. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you've seen that in Leslie County.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, definitely.
I mean, when Tim Kennedy was playing football, Leslie and his brother, I mean, they were loaded in every sport.
That's true.
And then it just runs in cycles. I mean, that's how that works for these county schools.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, you had a very cool moment Thursday night. I thought you brought back a bunch of the older coaches that had coached in the 3 high schools back in the 70s and 80s, and some of the coaches that are still around. I thought that was a cool moment to have those come back and be a part of that on Thursday night.
Well, it's the 30th year of North Laurel football because they started in 1992 when Laurel County split them up. And I even went back before the 70s. I went to the 50s. And when London, there was 3 high schools in Laurel County that played football: London High School, Hazel Green High School, and Lilly High School. And I don't think 2 of those coaches are alive anymore, but I did get London High School's coach, which was my dad's coach. And he's Lawrence Cool, and he used to be the president of the bank, and he's a big supporter of us and of UK. And I just thought, bringing him back and bringing some of the coaches that were actually at Laurel County and let the people, stand up and see let them see those guys. Brought back all the former North Laurel coaches that were still available, that weren't out coaching, and just let the crowd see those guys and give them a standing ovation like they deserve for all the time. Because God, they put in a lot of time, as any coach does. To my dad was, I think, the 2nd, maybe the 3rd head coach at Laurel County, and that was in the early 70s when I was a little kid, and I can remember watching them play, and they played Clark County and all those schools like that. And it was only one team went to the playoffs then.
I remember that.
Nobody
I remember that.
And they had sub districts, but anyway, and they even had there wasn't even a 6A. It was the Jefferson County State Championship because all the Louisville schools had played their own state championship. And so, they coached back when Lynch played, and it was great to get those guys up there because a lot of former players, Greg Duncan was one of the coaches at North Laurel. He went back to Corbin, but, Greg, he'd got cancer and he beat it. He's cancer free, and he'd not been back to North Laurel, and I wanted him to get up there, and him and Lawrence Cool most of all, and let all the former players see those guys because they'd been asking about them, and I thought it was a great chance before we play South Laurel and let them be able to see their old coaches and get some pictures with them and make some money signing autographs and donate that back to me.
Yeah, it was a cool moment. I was right there watching. I didn't know the true whole history of football in the county, but I did after I got left out of there on Thursday night. So that was impressive. And Coach, that was something that not a lot of people think about doing because more people should do that in their counties because they got a lot of coaches we forget about. People that's been part of a great football program. I know in Leslie County history, Floyd Hines. I don't know if you remember him. Floyd Hines, one of the greatest football coaches to ever coach, one of the greatest minds. And I think I wish we could do something like that. Bring some of our former coaches back, coach elementary, middle school, high school, and just bring them back and let them be just like you did. I think that'd be a tremendous idea. I think we need to do it in basketball. One night, bring back all of our coaches that's ever coached basketball, elementary, middle school, anytime, bring them back. And let's just have a good time with them. Like because it was a great moment. It was a great moment.
Like Coach Cool, the guy that coached the London High School, he's got some great stories. Like their water break back then was they had a 5-gallon bucket and they put a towel in there. And their water break was everybody got that towel was in the water and they all got the towel and they all got to suck on a piece of the towel. I mean, that was the water break. I'm not going to try because I like to get tired before I get put in jail for that. That's what they did. I mean, there's just old stories like that and just players seeing those guys. And it's just something great for our school and for the community and just let them feel the love that they got back for those guys.
Well, Coach, it was one of the greatest moments in the history of your community, and I enjoyed it. And I think more people need to do it. I just think
I agree 100%.
We don't need to forget about our past because there's a lot of people that's made it. And we need to remember those people.
We sure do.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you so very much for being with us. Would you come back again? I would love to have you back.
My dad, you ought to get him on there. He's got some great stories. I'm sure he'd love to get on there.
I would love to have your dad on here. I didn't know if he would actually would want to come on, but I would love to have him on here because
teach him how to hit the thing to zoom in and do the zoom camera. He probably
well, I think Coach Sparks will also tell you that he had a little bit of help tonight.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
everybody got rid of his flip phone and got a real phone, so he can actually text without having to hit the same number 3 or 4 different times.
Well, Coach, it's been an honor. Like I said, I'd like to have you back. I'd love to have your dad on here. You tell him that I'll be getting up with him pretty soon. I'll get up to you, and we'll try to get him on here.
Through me. He don't know what Twitter is. He thinks
send CJ his contact information. That'd be great to get him on.
I would love to have him on here. That would be awesome. Yep. Well, Coach, good luck to you on Friday night. It's a huge game for you and your school. I think you're going to do very well. And we will talk to you later.
All right, guys. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for everything you do for high school football and sports.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it very much.
Thanks.
Chris Larkey of the North Laurel Jaguars. Great coach. Veteran coach. He's been around a long time, Coach Sparks. He's been coaching 10+ years now.
Yeah, I'd say every bit of it.
Yeah, he's a good one. And, he's got a good football team. I mean, don't let him tell you different. I think they're going to give Southwestern a game and a half on Friday night.
Well, the way they're playing and the respect that not only the area but the state has for their program, and just to hear him talk about getting his teams ready and how he wants them to play, and you can tell, and he knows what he's doing, and the proof they say CJ is in the pudding when you got there and on Friday nights, it shows. So he's obviously doing a lot of things right.
Yeah, he's a great mind. He's a great coach of mine. Comes from another great coach of mine. So I mean, you can't beat that. Right. I was really being sincere about bringing back some of the older coaches of football and basketball. I think that would be a great thing to do.
You're right.
We don't need to forget about our past because they're the reason why we're here now. And if it wasn't for them, we would never be here. I mean,
you're right.
We look at Floyd Hines in football, but we go back, Coach Wendell Wilson in basketball. I mean, wouldn't it be for him, what would Lady Eagle basketball had ever been?
Well, who knows? But I mean, Coach Wilson gave us, a leg up on everything. He started it, and he was so successful. And he set the standard of what is good. For Leslie County Lady Eagle basketball. But we've started with having an alumni night during our classic and bringing out as many of our players back that will come back. But you're right. There's so many folks, like yourself that have coached, elementary basketball, middle school basketball, that were instrumental in helping the development of so many players. And we don't need to forget about that. You're exactly right.
I think that would be something you do on a night. Maybe the boys could do it, the girls could do it all on the same night, a doubleheader. Just bring back the history of basketball and do it for football. I'm gonna mention to Coach Melton. I'm gonna say, Coach, we need to do this. We need to get Coach Hines to come back. Mike Whitaker. I mean, all the coaches have been a part of this program and done what, even middle school coaches and elementary. If it wasn't for Robin Farler at Stinnett, where would we be in elementary football? I mean,
what a job he did over the years. Robin was so successful and just year after year.
Jimmy Wooten in basketball. Look at Jimmy Wooten, what he's done in basketball.
Absolutely.
I mean, we can keep going on. This is something I think we all, me, you, Coach Melton, should sit down with Mark and see if we can't put this together, because this will be awesome. Because Thursday night, that was a very cool moment. And I wasn't in neither part of neither school, but right. I thought that was a very cool moment.
I'm sure.
Nolan has commented. He said, Coach Sparks, you played Corbin in the preseason Christmas games. Now, he's been looking at the schedule. He knows you play Corbin. The women's basketball league that Peggy Moore played in had an exhibition game at the Women's Hall of Fame in Knoxville. Did you see Stan Begley play in practice in 1972? Nolan. This is Nolan Willer. If you remember, Nolan used to call on the Big Dipper show.
Absolutely. I don't know if I can remember all the questions. I know Stanley Begley well. I was younger when Stanley was playing basketball at Buckhorn, but he was a really good player. Stanley was, just a good player, good scorer, and could pass the basketball, and was a part of some real good and competitive teams there at Buckhorn. Peggy Gay was one of my best friends growing up. We lived, you could almost throw a rock from her house to mine. She lived up on a hill, and she could probably throw a rock and hit our house. And she had a big family, had a lot of brothers, all good friends of mine. Her brother Freddie, one of the people that kind of helped me, develop an interest in. And he's the one that he kept asking me about the Reds. Did you listen to the Reds game last night? And at that time, I wasn't. And the Reds were on Hazard Radio every night. But I wanted to talk baseball so badly with Freddie every day that I started listening to every Reds game. But Peggy was just phenomenal. And I'm very well aware of, Peggy playing in that women's professional league before the WNBA and all that. She played for, what I remember she played for a team in Philadelphia. She also made it to the final cut of the Olympic team. I can't remember what year. It might have been, she graduated in 75. It might have been 1980, maybe the 80 Olympic team. If there was an Olympic team in 80, I can't, but that would have been the time frame. She graduated high school in 75. But just a phenomenal. She started on her baseball team, CJ. She could throw right in. She could throw right-handed or left-handed, and she would pitch. Not every guy, you know, I mean, not all the time, but sometimes you needed a pitch. She played third, started third base as a senior, and but she pitched some. If it was a left-handed batter, she would throw left-handed. If she was right-handed, she would throw right-handed. Phenomenal, and a better person than she was an athlete, if that's possible. She's just a special person to me.
Well, you know, she's missed. And I talked with Kyle a couple weeks ago, and we talk all the time how dearly we miss her.
Absolutely.
And she was still with us.
Hell yes.
I know they've been doing a classic in her name, and that's become a pretty big classic over there.
Well, again, she was just and in their coaching, career there at Breath, it just took off, and she's a special lady.
Yeah, she was. Now with us, the main man, if you want to know about the Kentucky Wildcat program, Mr. Jeff Drummond of Cat Illustrating. Jeff, good to have you with us. I know you've been a busy man. Did you go to South Carolina last night?
No, sir. No, we were doing it remotely as long as they're still doing the COVID protocols. Basically, on those road games, you could just go down there and do it on Zoom. So I said, I don't need to drive 7 hours to interview somebody on Zoom.
I come away from last night's game more excited about our defense than our offense. And I don't know why I feel that way, because we've got a good offense. I mean, we make mistakes on offense. We're still learning what the offense is about. But I think the defense pretty much made a statement last night.
Well, they stepped up in a big way, and they've been really challenged since the last 2 weeks. I know Brad White, defensive coordinator, hasn't been real pleased with them at all in these past 2 games, even though they came away with wins, which is the bottom line. And they made the plays when they needed to, but they didn't play anywhere near to their standard and their expectations. In this game, they certainly did, and they ratcheted it up a notch, and the intensity was there. They won the line of scrimmage. I think that's where a lot of it starts with Marquand McCall up front over at center. You've got 6'4", 350 pounds of man. They're controlling the middle of the line of scrimmage. Yep. It all starts right there for Kentucky. If he does that and they get the normal production you expect out of guys like Square and Jones at linebacker, and then on the back end, Yusuf Corker at safety, the whole thing just looks really good when all the parts are clicking.
I thought last night the fumbles was a concern. Coach Sparks brought that up with Coach McDaniels from Knox Central. He asked him how he approached his kids and talked to them about not fumbling. I've heard what Coach Stoops has said of what he tells them, but what's the real story here? Because that's got to be frustrating, and he's got to get a little upset with them.
Oh, he's more than a little upset. He's upset like you couldn't believe, and he's even made references to his blood pressure and how they're doing a number on him with this ball security. And as much as they preach it and teach it, and they've added practice sessions just to address this specifically during the week, where they go through 3 little stations of different deals, and it's all the skill guys have to do it. And they're teaching them the basics and the fundamentals, but sometimes you get in that game and you're running a little bit high, you're carrying that thing up, you don't have it tight in there like you should, or 2 hands, and they are really fortunate to be where they are, to be basically they're last in the country or close to it in turnover margin, and sitting at 4-0, which is unheard of.
That's amazing. 4-0. If you'd have told me that almost dead last in turnovers, and you're 4-0, something's going right for you. I mean, you've got a lucky charm under your pillow or something.
Yeah, and Mark Stoops, he said he's not berating them too much about this, at least publicly. I think privately may be a different story, but you also don't want it to become like a mental thing at this point. We're going to be beating them over the head, I'm sure, starting tomorrow when we go to that 12 o'clock press conference. All the questions are going to be about these turnovers and the fumbles, and the kids hear that, and sooner or later, maybe you're thinking about that a little bit more than executing the play, and it can hurt you in other ways.
4-0. I think a lot of people thought we would be here. Now, here comes the Gators to town. I thought last night Tennessee wasn't really going to beat them. I thought they were going to play around them in the first half, but then Florida put them away second half. Florida's rushing attack is actually what Kentucky's defense needs to see, because I think it's really, really good. What's Kentucky going to have to do defensively to slow down Florida?
Kind of the same things that we saw at South Carolina. Now, South Carolina has some really good backs, but I don't think South Carolina is as talented up front as Florida is going to be. So you're going to have to take it up yet another notch to slow these guys down. And in a lot of ways, these two offenses are going to mirror each other, I think. You know, both of these teams want to establish the line of scrimmage and win with the physical run game.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Coach Parks. Go ahead.
I know that Florida's had a little bit of a quarterback, controversy. Not controversy, maybe, but it had a couple guys they were looking at it, Jeff, I think. And the one fellow there last night really seemed to establish himself as the guy, I thought. And we're going to have to contain him. He can move, man. He runs that football. He can take off and go with it. Don't you think that's going to have to be, a major emphasis going into the week as far as –
Yeah, and for years and years and years, that was like one of the boost for Kentucky.
Right.
If somebody had a dual threat, a mobile quarterback, how many times did we see 3rd and 13 and a quarterback, if he didn't have anybody open, could get 14 with his legs?
Yeah.
It just seemed like it's gotten a little bit better in recent years, but it's still a big concern. I think one advantage Kentucky has now is kind of the upgrade in athleticism over there on defense. And in certain spots, they're built to play small and fast. And they really like their nickel package. I think you play a lot of nickel against Florida instead of their base, and let those guys with speed try to address the dual threat there. But if you do that, then you sacrifice a little bit against the power run game, and it becomes a chess match.
Well, we've been, it's like I said, we've not really put together a full game, with the offense really clicking and the defense really clicking. And going into this stretch, these next 3 or even 4, if you're going out to Mississippi State, the hope has to be that, that'll come together and we'll be able to, play some of our better defensive football at the same time, take care. We were moving the ball last night. I mean, if we just take care of it and don't put it on the ground or, throw a pick, whatever. I like our chances. You want to think that if we can play a complete game, we can beat Florida if we do that. But it's the challenge.
I think that's the most encouraging thing at this point is you haven't seen the offense and defense play well on the same day yet.
Right.
And they're sitting here at 4-0 and they've done some really nice things. Man, what if you can put that all together on the same day? I'd like to see what that looks like on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Defense was awesome last night.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
But that's been that thing with Kentucky over the years. It seems like getting both of those on the same page against a really good team has always been
That's true.
a challenge. And I suppose part of that's why the other guy on the other side of the line's got a good team.
Oh, yeah.
They don't make it easy on you. But Kentucky's kind of due to have that game, and maybe this is the perfect time for it.
Yeah,
I thought Cosio Smoke played real well last night. I want to see more of him because I mean, we've got 2 running backs that are very capable of going 100 yards every game.
Yeah, and Smoke gives you that home run threat. Rodriguez, he can break one too, but Smoke has an extra gear there, and I think they would really like to take advantage of that and see him pop a couple of big ones coming up here soon. He's a talented guy. Hadn't always kind of benefited, I guess you would say, from the other people around him. There's been good backs in that Kentucky program. He's never had a chance to really be like a featured guy. But when he has those opportunities like he did Saturday, I thought he took advantage of them and had a real good night for 9 carries. He turned those into 50 yards. And that's really solid.
And had the only score of the game for Kentucky. So,
right. Yeah.
And Rodriguez, even with the fumbles, down the stretch when you had to keep that ball and move those chains, you could hand it to him and he was running over people and getting 7-8 yards out of whack.
That's the thing too. You love to see when Kentucky got to that point in the game where everybody in that stadium, 60,000 going wild and nuts, and that rooster crowing, all that noise. They knew who was getting the ball, and Kentucky still went out and pounded it down the field on them, and had that faith in. That's one thing about these coaches too. When guys make mistakes, they don't get put in that doghouse, for the rest of the game or the next game, whatever. We've seen that happen before with some staffs. They go right back to these guys and have faith in them, even though they've had some of the problems, and hope to address those issues in practice and not at the game. If you take Chris Rodriguez out of that game and bench him, who knows what happens at the end.
Well, I noticed I was following on Twitter and seeing what people were saying, and somebody said Saban would have never put a running back in that game that had fumbled twice. Somebody else came back and said, yeah, but, we're not Alabama, and who's going to run the ball like Chris Rodriguez is, and I thought that was a good point.
Saban's probably got two or three Chris Rodriguez.
Exactly.
Kentucky is if I saw correctly, 5.5 point underdog Friday night or Saturday night. Is that right?
I haven't seen that number yet.
I haven't either, CJ. I don't know.
Thought I saw where it said 5.5, but
That
I'm
makes sense.
misreading something. I know they were really close to getting in the top 25 today. They got, 26 votes so they're getting closer, but you feel like a win over Florida gets them in the top 25?
Well, if it doesn't, I don't know what folks are waiting for. There's not going to be many 5-0 teams to pick from. So I guess the nation's kind of waiting to see. They've not been real impressed so far with the wins that Kentucky has, and we can debate that. They haven't played the strongest people on the schedule yet, but now's their opportunity to do that. If you want to be in the top 25, go prove it Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, you speak of schedule, the 22 schedule will come out Wednesday. What caught your eye? What caught your eye there?
Well, you know what? You catch me a little bit off guard.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't have it in front of me, but I know a lot of people from the discussion after that came out were a little bit bummed about it. It lacks a little bit of sizzle, and next year will be Mark Stoops' 10th season at Kentucky, and they've been to 5 straight bowl games. They've won 3 in a row. I think we're kind of getting to the point where maybe you can think about spicing that schedule up a little bit and getting an interesting non-conference game in there, a home and away or a neutral site type deal. I know the reasons why they haven't, and you don't want to throw too much on top of that SEC schedule because it can absolutely eat you alive, and you really need those 4 games to work with your young guys and your depth and everything. But a lot of people after that came out were saying, let's see something to get us a little energized. Maybe a border state rival or something like a game against West Virginia, for instance. Neil Brown, bring his guys in here, or go to Morgantown and play, something like that.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
West Virginia came really close to getting a big one last night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, and that's going to scare people if you're ranked in the top 5 and Neil Brown brings a team he's already beaten and knocked off one highly ranked team. So, they're doing a real good job over there.
I've got the schedule in front of me. They got Miami of Ohio, then a road trip to Florida, back-to-back home games against Youngstown State and Northern Illinois, then a road trip to Ole Miss. That'll be fun. That'll be a fun afternoon on October 1st. Then back-to-back home games for South Carolina and Mississippi State. Then trips to Tennessee, Missouri before the end of the year with the final 3 home games, Vanderbilt, Georgia, and Louisville. So I see what you're talking about. It would have been nice if they could have got a premier team, either the 17th or the 24th, after the Florida game, because that would have been a good measuring stick to know how good they would have been or how they're going to be.
Yeah, it'd been nice to see somebody coming to Lexington, moving the needle a little bit more. When you got, I think they've got 8 home games. Is that right?
Yes, 8 home games. Mm-hmm.
And so, SEC teams are always good. That's always going to be interesting. But I think it just might be time, especially if they win another bowl game this year and do what people expect them to do, 8, 9, maybe even, 10 wins. Who knows? I think that's a stretch at this point. But I think 8 or 9 is in serious consideration for this.
Jeff, now this may all take care of itself, when Texas and Oklahoma join,
right?
And if we go into these pods or whatever they're going to call it, that is kind of exciting. If you want to have the 3 traditional rivals every year, possibly, and then alternate the other. Are you kind of familiar with that? I'm sure you are. I mean, what they're saying, you'd play everybody. I think every team every other year, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe it would allow you to cycle through your conference teams a lot more often than you see now, which is, I've always made that point. It's like, why are you in a conference with somebody you only see every 7 or 8 years?
Yeah.
It seems really weird to me. Texas A&M, how long have they been in the conference now? A good
long time.
We played them once, right?
Played them one time.
One time. A team in the conference has never been to Lexington, and they've been in the conference, 6 years maybe.
Yeah.
So I like the pods idea. That may depend a little bit on who they stick
your pod, right?
when they stick Kentucky in with Alabama, Auburn,
yeah,
Georgia,
pods are no good, right?
That pod, with that pod, yeah. I don't know if you got to be last Saturday at the UK event. I know Ryan Lemon was there, and Ryan, you know how he is.
Yeah.
He was telling us he thought that Ty Washington is going to be one of the best players to ever play here. What's your thoughts about the freshman? Because he's awfully high on him after he left Transylvania on Saturday night.
But everybody that came away from that was just raving about him. But I always have these flashbacks over my lifetime of following Kentucky basketball and doing this in the media and seeing blue-white games. And somebody went for 35. Oh, my. He's a superstar. And it doesn't always pan out that way based on some of this informal stuff. But the people around the program will tell you that Ty Washington's a really advanced kid right now, and they love where he is at this time. But I'm in, after last season, watching what happened, I'm in pump the brakes mode on anything until these guys get out there and, play 6 or 7 games and let them get their feet under there before we start throwing Final Four, all this other stuff at them.
I mean, that was the thing I'm excited about is it's the depth and the experience Kentucky's going to have because they've never. This is the oldest team he's had probably since John Walden. This got a lot of experience on this team. Maybe
even more so than that one. I'd have to put those rosters next to each other and kind of look at it. But I know he's never had this many senior guys.
Yeah.
The grad transfer. It's going to be interesting to see how he coaches them because he hadn't coached a team like that probably since he was at Memphis or maybe even UMass.
The one that catches my eye is the one from Georgia, the point guard. Oh, I'm high on him. I'm excited about him. I think he's going to be big time for us.
Perfect fit for the guys they have around him. Pass first guy, craves an assist more than anything else out there. He can score when he needs to, but he really wants to help somebody else score. And that's exactly what this team needs when you've got those shooters in place and other scorers and a good low post presence.
I mean, I think Kentucky can go 10, 11 deep. I told Coach Sparks, I said, I know they can go 10, maybe even 11.
Will he's the big question for me because he's always been way more comfortable with around 8 guys, and sometimes he even says he doesn't like going that far. But I think he has to with this bunch, and I'm hoping he'll find ways to play where it almost forces them to use that depth. You know, maybe if that's doing something with the tempo or I don't think we'll see platoons again, although I liked what they did with platoons back in 2000.
I had no problem with that. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they've got that kind of talent, but I think they could have 2 groups of 5 that are fairly equal and manage the time that way.
Yeah. Got to stay healthy, too. I think that's the biggest thing. Last year, they had a couple of injuries early in the year. I thought that hurt them, and I thought that really pushed them back. Well, also, and I think having crowd back in Rupp Arena and on the road, I think it's going to make the atmosphere so much better for the players to play harder.
Oh, no doubt about that. And we've even had a guy like Davion Mintz has talked to us a little bit about it, how he felt like how bad they missed that last season, how bad he was looking forward to hearing 20-something thousand people just roaring there and pushing them, you know, over the top when they got in those situations and close games late, and you get that extra bump from the UK crowd. That hurt that team. I'm convinced if they had a normal season with fans in the stands, could have at least doubled their win total. I think it's that important.
100%.
I thought it wouldn't have been a classic great UK season no matter what, because the parts really didn't fit, but it wouldn't have been, you know, what it ended up being.
I thought the true blue bloods of basketball really struggled with no crowds. Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, those schools that are used to having the crowds that feed them and get them going, that's why they struggled so bad. They didn't have nobody to feed them.
Yeah, invaluable. And those schools also are playing with younger guys, you know, who need that extra push sometimes.
Yep.
And, you had some veteran teams come in here. I'm trying to think back. I've tried to erase that season from memory. That whole year, basically, sports and otherwise. Geez, 2020 just go away. But like Georgia Tech, I think, was one of them. Notre Dame was another. Older guys, experienced guys, teams that have played together for a long time. That maybe if you had a crowd in there pushing young guys to another level, you could get over the top against.
Yeah. I know it's going to be interesting. I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun, but we still got a lot of football ahead of us. And Florida, Saturday night, 6:00 kick on ESPN. Should be a great ball game. Kentucky's next two on home. They play Florida and LSU. Then they go to Georgia and Mississippi State, right?
Huge 4-game stretch. And I feel like they need to come away with one of these at home. If they get both, oh, boy, you're talking about a potential huge season. But you want to hold serve and I think get one of these against Florida or LSU.
I didn't think LSU looked – I mean, they looked, I guess, better, but they didn't overly impress yesterday against Mississippi State. You know, I think those 2 games – I mean, if we play, like I said, if we can play a complete game, we can beat Florida. But now, in my opinion, Florida's better than LSU and Mississippi State. Those next 2 – you have to play well, but you don't have to be, you know, it may not have to be your A game, perhaps. I mean, I know that's big talk when you're playing LSU and when you're going to Mississippi State to play, you better be ready to play. But
I would agree with that. And the coaches always say, you know, one game at a time, and that's how you have to approach it. But I've been keeping an eye on kind of LSU all summer and the early part of the season, just because I thought that's one Kentucky could not exactly steal, because I don't think that would be a huge upset.
No, I agree.
But, you know, people across the nation would probably be a little bit surprised.
Oh, yeah.
If Kentucky won. And, you know, they got kind of pushed around LSU by UCLA.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
That opener. And that's how Kentucky is kind of built. So when I saw that, I said, you know, maybe they've got a really nice shot to win that one this year.
And they're erratic offensively. They look pretty good sometimes, and other times they don't look as good. You know, they're up and down like we are a little bit with their offensive football.
The one thing you can count on, and that's with both of these next 2, they've got those 5-star, 4-star Jimmies and Joes. It won't be from lack of talent.
No,
if either one of those do not play well in Lexington, because man, they've got it as much as anybody not named, Alabama.
Well, Alabama's got a big game Saturday too. They got to play Ole Miss and Tuscaloosa. That's going to be a huge game. Wouldn't shock me if Ole Miss couldn't go up there and upset them. I doubt it, but wouldn't shock me. I mean, because anything can happen after yesterday. Yeah. What, 5 top 25 teams got beat? Is that right?
Sounds right. And the cream of the crop kind of up there besides Alabama were pushing around a little bit. So we may see a different looking playoff for the first time in a while.
I felt really bad for Georgia State. I thought they kind of got some pretty rough treatment there yesterday.
They probably got, that was not very good. But their coach said after the game, he said, this life, we got to learn, get over it, and we'll move on.
Yep.
I guess Arkansas won 2 right now that everybody's buzzing about. Man, those guys are really playing. And if you'd told me that this time last year, I would have said no way they would be knocking on the door of the top 10 and threatening to be in the playoff hunt.
Well, for what it's worth department, like how many undefeated? There were 4 undefeated teams in the SEC right now. 4, maybe 5. I don't know. UK, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas. Maybe Ole Miss. Is Ole Miss lost? I don't know.
No, Ole Miss ain't lost yet.
Maybe 5. Kentucky's not been in that company very often over the years. I mean, that's
the only one unranked probably out of that bunch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a shame, too, because I thought they deserved to be in. But just like you said earlier, the schedule, and that's what people look at, and that's what they determine. So,
They probably weigh like an Arkansas win over Texas a little bit too heavily. I don't particularly think that's a bigger win, only in perception, as to a win over, a Missouri. I put Missouri and Texas on kind of a level playing field right now.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, this is always an honor to have you. I know you'll come back again. You're always a good friend of the show, and you'll be right here when I need you. We're going to bring you back for basketball. We'll get a good look at the Cats, and we'll talk more about them. Football will be closing down by then, so we'll bring you back, and we'll talk to you then.
Let's do it. I really appreciate you having me on, and anytime, just hit me up, and I'll try to make it happen.
I'd love to have you on here, Jeff. You're a good man, and you do very well. And if I want to know my information, I go check you out there at Cats Illustrated. So you guys keep the good work up.
We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Jeff Drummond from Cats Illustrated.
Good night.
Great man there, Coach Parks. He does a good job covering the Cats all the way around the board.
Really good job. Really good job.
Yeah, he's I'm going to put this back the way we were. I was wanting to look at him a little more. There we go. He knows his football. He knows his UK. That's why I go to him. If I want to know something, I know he's going to know it because Jeff Drummond is a very, very smart individual. I hadn't mentioned this, and I'm going to go over it with Courtney, but I want to go over it with everybody else. Wednesday, they brought out the WYMT teams for the Mountain Classic. Let me give you the teams. The girls' teams. We got the Belfry Lady Pirates, the Bell County Lady Cats, the Knott County Central Lady Patriots, the Leslie County Lady Eagles, the North Laurel Lady Jaguars, and the Shelby Valley Lady Wildcats. The boys' teams are Breathitt County, the Bobcats, Harlan Green Dragons, Johnson Central Golden Eagles, the Knox Central Panthers, the Knott Central Patriots, the Paintsville Tigers, the Perry Central Commodores, and the Shelby Valley Wildcats. Coach Parks, I don't remember ever of a field where every first round game could come down to the final moment. Boys and girls.
Those are 2 excellent fields, CJ, and every team on that and that you just mentioned can play. And if everybody is healthy and out there ready, with their full teams, I mean, it should be some great basketball. I think whoever we're in it, and I'm fortunate. And there's other good teams that I'm sure applied that aren't in. I mean, but those are good basketball teams, and it should be a great tournament, fun to watch, competitive games. I think the committee did a really good job.
I can't wait till they bring this when they seed them and give the matchups, because that's going to be very big. I talked a little bit about with Camille Thursday night when I saw her at the North-South game. We was talking about how one seed to another seed could really determine the matchup. I mean, look at the girls. Probably not going to see Leslie and Knott play each other in the first game. Probably not. I mean, it would stun me if that happened. But, I like a lot of people figure that North and Shelby Valley are going to be the top two seeds if you see them. Then from 3 to 6, them other 4 teams can be seeded from wherever. I mean, that'll be interesting to see what the committee does if they seed them like they have the last couple years. I like it actually because I think it makes it pretty good basketball.
You're talking about us and not traditionally. I think they've tried to stay away from putting teams in the same region, against each other in the first round. I would be surprised if we played Knox County in the first game. But gosh, you're just talking about, every one of those teams, you're going to have to play and play well if you're going to
every night.
Yep. And the boys is the same way.
Yeah. Well, I was surprised on the boys with one team. 7 of the 8 that got in had not a problem one. You don't really have a problem for them, this team being in. But I don't know how they got in. Was the Prairie Central Commodores. I mean, they didn't have a winning record last year. They got everybody back. They had all the kids that could be a fifth-year senior come back. They've also picked up the McKnight kid from Buckhorn. Corey is now assistant coach with Shannon at Prairie Central. But for them to get in there, I think that's big because the committee is telling me that they think Prairie Central is going to be better than it's going to be back in the thick of things in the boys' 14th.
Well, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with what you said, leading up to that. These kids have came back to play that extra year. It's kind of like Coach Larkey talking about Southwest football team. When you take a 19-year-old, well, I guess you can be that. Well, you could be. I mean, a kid that has to be you have to be eligible, but a year that's a kid that's been in there an extra year, and they're men. They're closer to being big, full-grown men. Stronger. They're experienced, and they have picked up a kid or two that can play, and everybody knows that Coach Hoskins does a really good job, and of course Corey's going to be a big boost there to that program as well. And I guarantee you that PCC will be well represented, or will represent the 54th district and that school and things really well in that tournament.
Yeah, I mean, Corey was on here a couple weeks ago. No, I think it was last week. My co-host, we was talking about how they're going to continue the Louis Classic, and I'm so tickled to death they're going to continue that.
Absolutely.
I know our boys are in it. I know he tried to get us in it, but he couldn't find an opponent, or I don't know how that worked out. But Corey's still trying to find a way to get us in there someday so we can play in that.
The girls.
Yeah.
Well, we're playing in the blank.
Yeah, we're in the Scotty Blake Classic. Do you know who we play?
Not yet.
Okay,
Not yet.
Don't know yet. But I know Corey said he would love to have you guys be a part of the Lou Classic someday.
Oh, we'd look forward to that opportunity, and that'd be a great thing for our kids to participate in. Louis was a great guy and a 14th region legend. I mean, as a player and as a coach, and just everybody knew him, and he was just good to kids.
Yeah, he's
really good, outstanding person. I mean,
that last year when they had it at Buckhorn, because this is something that they were going to rotate at Buckhorn, Prairie Central. This year it's at Prairie Central. And of course, Corey's now assistant coach there. It worked out even easier for him because he was already there. So Looking forward to that. I know our boys are in it. Not for sure who they play. I tried to look at the schedule. It has them playing, but don't have their game. So, but Corey said last week he thought it was a 15th or 16th region team. He wasn't for sure, but he could tell me more later. So, got Courtney going to come on here hopefully in a little bit. She's going to get us going through for week 5, get us into week 6. We're going to discuss the RPI with her. RPI's come out this past week. And I'm actually getting a message from her right now. And she is telling me that her Wi-Fi is out in her apartment, so she's going to have to cancel. So we're not going to be able to have her. But, well, we got a phone call. Might be able to let's see what we got here. Go ahead, caller. You're on the CJ Harris Show. Hello, John. How you doing? I was just thinking about you because Courtney said she's out of internet. If you would give me about 2 minutes, I will send you an invitation, and you could join us here on the computer. Okay. Yeah, that would be a great matchup. I have just sent you an invitation, John. So if you want to join us, go ahead and click on that. We'll bring you in here. We'll let you take the place of Courtney tonight. Okay. This is John Lowe, the sports director of YMT. He brought up interesting point, Larry. He was talking about Johnson Central and Paintsville boys with the rivalry they've had the last couple of years, them to be in the Mountain Classic. There's a chance if the seeds fail, they could play each other in the first round.
Well, I mean, that would be good for the fans. That'd be something everybody would want to see and interested in watching for sure.
But the team I like is Harlan. I think Harlan's going to be a big. I mean, they've got some of the best guard play in the 13th.
They're fun to watch. I saw them play over at Hyden last year against their club, and they get after it, and like I say, super athletic, can score that basketball at almost every position, and coach does a great job with those kids. I mean, that's just a competitive basketball team, dangerous. I don't care who they're playing; they're a dangerous team.
Yeah. Hopefully we're going to get John on the computer here in just a second. He's on the phone with us live. Courtney could not join us tonight. I'm sad for that. She said her Wi-Fi went out. I was going to finish up her note. She says, I'm sorry. Last week she was at the volleyball match. So hopefully we can get Courtney back here next week if Camille cannot be here. Camille said she's going to be up in the air about next week because she's supposed to be she's going to do the Florida game, and then she's supposed to be doing something else. She said it might not make it. So, Courtney, if she cannot make it, we'll bring you back next week. And I'm sorry your internet went out. I know you're feeling because I've had internet can go out so easy these days. Sometimes you have to unplug it and plug it back up, and it'll work for you. But depending on the situation where you live and stuff like that. We've had a great show tonight. Well, hopefully we can get John on here. John's still on the line with us. But John, talk a little bit while you're still in there. What about week 5? What do you think about it? Yeah. Yeah, I see you did it. We're going to go ahead and add you to the stream. You can go ahead and hang up, and we'll go from there.
All right.
Okay.
So,
We got John with us now.
can you hear me okay?
There we go. Now, yes, that was me. I had to turn you up when you was on the phone so Coach Sparks could hear you. But let's get into week 5 a little bit. I don't know what you guys have chosen yet for your game of the week, but for this week. But, I wasn't really disappointed with your game of the week. I just thought that North was so much better than South. I think North is better than a lot of teams.
Here's the thing with the game of the week, at least up to this point. We're going to try to change it up if we can next month because all the games of the week are set up before the season starts.
Yeah.
So this week we got Somerset and Hazard because at the beginning of the season we thought Somerset was going to be way better than they have been. Yeah. So, but we're kind of looking at the schedule, seeing what we can change. And sorry, I'm trying to pull up week 5 here. But the one game that I looked at the schedule for this coming week and I circled it and I was like, okay, we got to do something special for that game. It's North Laurel at Southwestern.
Yeah.
That's going to be the game.
That should be, I think that should be your game of the week because North 3, Southwestern 5. I mean, you got a top 10 showdown. I think it'll be an awesome game.
Mm-hmm. Well, not just that, we haven't really because Southwestern they play teams like Lincoln County and Madison Central and teams like that. We haven't been able to really see them anyway.
Yeah.
So it would have been great to actually get them on game of the week. I don't think we can make that switch that fast. But I'm looking at the past week. I was impressed with Pikeville. I didn't think they were gonna pull it out there. I was hoping they would.
Yeah.
I heard the game, and because the game I went to was at Rockcastle, and I was on the way back. I was kind of listening to bits and pieces of it, and then the next day I saw all the Saturday morning, I saw all the Twitter love from Pikeville, just because I guess KSR was there and all that stuff, and it looks like they got a lot of love from all those guys. So it's got to be at least a motivating tool. And then the other game that kind of caught my eye a little bit was let me find it here. West Carter and Shelby Valley. I didn't know. Being from that part of West Virginia, we still got Grayson and all in the coverage area. I remember West Carter being pretty good last year. I remember them losing some pieces, but they're still able to dominate that region and a lot of that district. A lot of big Sandy teams in that district. So I was kind of interested to see West Carter hang on against Shelby Valley at home. So it'll be interesting to see how they play in that district because that's a weird big district. And how about Williamsburg too? Williamsburg beating Somerset on a game-winning score. So.
I've got some information on that game. I go to church with one of the people who watches him a lot, and he said the rust was really showing. They hadn't played in 2 weeks. Last time they played was Leslie County at home because they had a game canceled. They had another game canceled. They had an open date, couldn't find a game. Yeah. So Somerset had been playing, improving, and getting better, and they dominated the whole game till the final about minute and a half. Mm-hmm. They went, I think he told me they went like 10 plays on a 60-yard drive. I don't know how close that was, but was a heck of a drive on that last one. And, Somerset, you don't want to take any moral victories away, but you have to feel good that you took one of the top teams in 1A football down to the last minute, and I know you guys are going to supposed to do the Hazard Somerset game. And I just talked with my brother before I come on the air, and he says that Somerset is a lot better football team than what people gives them credit for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and also they had a tough early schedule. They had to play Paintsville and they had to play Lincoln County early on, and it's not like they've had their challenges just in their competition. So. It's tough to take a moral victory out of a loss, but and plus Hazard they got destroyed over the weekend against Danville. So, Because I'm sure you know that you're a big Hazard fan, as I've heard.
Dan, he said the reason why he played the Danville game was because they remind him a lot of Pikeville, and he wanted to get ready for Pikeville. No, I'm not a Hazard fan. I need to correct all that traffic that gets sent my way. It's because I've got people finding me asleep and putting stuff on me that are hazard material, and I'm not. My brother coaches there. I want him to do well.
Yeah,
but I am not a Hazard fan. I will repeat, I am not a Hazard fan.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's flip this around a little bit. Were you up in Inez this past Friday?
I was. Yes.
What did you think? What did you think of what you saw? Because I only caught what our reporter was up there, Corey. We only caught what he saw. What did you think of Leslie's performance up there? I know they lost, but what did you think?
It really wasn't a matter of wins and losses for us in this game. It was just get on the field, just be able to get some reps. We're not going to see a team like Martin County's offense. Everybody we're going to face from this point on is going to be I formation or spread you out. That's how we do pretty good against competition like that. But when you're doing that wing T and you got the ball going all over the place, our defense just ain't meant to stop that. So they done the best. We was without some people. We were without 4 players, and that hurt us on offense tremendously. And we're banged up right now. We got some kids that are banged up, and going into the Millsboro game this week, we got to try to patch together enough. This ain't the game I think that is important. Next week's game is going to be monumental because we don't beat Knox County, there's a chance we won't get in the playoffs. So it's coming. If the Knox County game is going to be like a live or die situation. But now we need to prove ourselves this week because Middlesboro is loaded. I mean, and I know I'm going to screw this name up all night, but I'm going to go ahead and start now. The running back for Middlesboro, be it Bukuka. I don't know. I know I messed it up bad, but I got to practice it. But he's one of the top running backs in the mountains.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know how much of that going into their game. I don't know how much of it is just Breathitt County not quite having it this year or what. But I mean, that was a putting 52 points on Breathitt County. I know it was at home, but still, they're no joke. That's a team that's been kind of quietly moving its way up the top 10.
I feel like if you can hold Jalen down, you can beat Breathitt. And that's what a lot of teams do. They focus on because they can't run the ball. I mean, they didn't. I think they not only rushed the ball for Jalen had most of the rushing yards. It was less than 100 yards, I believe. Millsboro, I think, had 300 or 400 yards rushing. And
I think Breathitt is a lot like Leslie in that if they can get healthy, I think they've had a lot of health issues as well and have had a hard time having their team out there. If these people can get healthy down the stretch, now you're going to see different football teams at Leslie County and at Breathitt County.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and they had a lot of injuries against North Laurel too. So I mean, that was a lot of what had to do with that loss against North Laurel. What was that, week 2, I believe? So, but another game I'm kind of eyeing a little bit. And you mentioned Williamsburg. They got Sayre, and I know Sayre's relatively.
That'll be a fun game. That's going to be a really fun game because Sayre is for real. I mean, we had Coach Finnington on here last week. His boy is for real. He's a phenomenal quarterback.
Well, we saw them when I was at WSAZ. We saw them last year when they played Phelps. They played Phelps. They met him in the middle. They played him at Kentucky Christian. And, it was Phelps, but, they dominated him, ran all over the field with him. That'll be a fun game. And another game I'm kind of looking out for is Simon Kenton at Corbin. Should be a fun one too, and see if another sneaky good game.
Now tomorrow night got a game.
That's true.
Clay County hosting their first game on the new turf against Harlan County, but I'm wondering they're supposed to play Johnson Central Friday night. How hard is that going to be for them to bounce back, or are they going to have to move this game because it's going to be awfully hard on them to play Monday night and have to play Friday night? You got to travel to Johnson Central after you played a home game against Hardin County.
I talked to Coach Sizemore on Friday. I on the way out to Rockcastle, I stopped in Manchester and talked to Coach Sizemore a little bit, and he did not sound like he was ready for Johnson Central. Now I really am excited for tomorrow. I saw their field; it's beautiful.
It is
beautiful. And they have the same kind of light setup that, and I'm sure you've seen it on Facebook. They have that Pulaskis County has. So that's going to be a really fun, exciting environment against Harlan County. But the thing that I'm kind of like I'm still trying to figure out Johnson Central, period. Because those two out-of-state teams they played, from what I know, once again, one of them was from the St. Louis area, the other one was from the Washington, D.C. area. Not great, not that great. They barely beat Cahokia, and then they lost to Rock Creek. And from what I heard, once again, I'm not as up on my DC area football as I should be, but Rock Creek was kind of like a Bishop Sycamore, only not fake. So we're gonna have to learn a little more about John Central. And they have the talent. They got Mason Lawson. They got Grant Bingham on the line, and I mean they have and Grant Rice at quarterback. I mean they have weapons. It's just that I don't know where they are emotionally with Coach Matney, and
how is Coach Matney? What's the latest on him?
Last we heard, he's best I could say is stable. I haven't really heard anything good or bad. Just kind of his condition hasn't really changed much over the last 3 or 4 days. Still in the hospital. His wife has seen him a couple of times. So that's really all I've heard that I'm able to, that I feel comfortable saying, because I don't want to invade privacy or anything like that. So
is he still on the ventilator?
As far as I know, but it could be that he's not. But as far as I know, there are some issues with his lungs.
Coach
right
Mark, go ahead. You got some more questions, I know.
If we can kind of change topics just a tad.
Yeah.
CJ and I, John, were talking about the YMT and the announcement of the fields and things, and we were talking about what looks like just 2 great fields for the tournament, and should be just a lot of really good basketball.
Exactly. I'm excited. This will be my first Mountain Classic, and I've never really done too much basketball on the bluegrass. I covered some Ashland last year, and they made it all the way to the end. Didn't take it, but they made it all the way to the end, or close to the end. And I'm really excited to see how it's done. I know Johnson Central and Paintsville. Those are good teams to have in there, and as are Knox Central and Not Central, and I'm really excited to see how this all goes. And I kind of heard the tail end there. I don't really know too much about Perry Central. It was kind of like what was that thing on Sesame Street? One of these things doesn't quite belong. But
I think that's surprised. I think you'll be fine with Perry being in there. I think.
I think you will now with everybody back. Yeah.
Right. And on the girls' side, I've heard a lot about Cassidy Rowe, and now we're going to have her in the Mountain Classic, out at Shelby Valley, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what it has in store. I haven't quite gotten into basketball mode yet, so I couldn't quite answer too many questions on the teams themselves. I'm still kind of learning, but I know physically where they are. That's about all I know.
Those are 6 good girls teams.
Mm-hmm.
They really are.
And I heard North Laurel won it last year, and they made it all the way to region, didn't they? Yeah, I'm looking at the release. But yeah, I'm excited to see how it goes, especially over there at Not Central. I heard a lot of stories about Mountain Classic past from Brian and yeah.
Did I understand that the pairings will be announced sometime in October?
Yeah, sometime next month, the committee will meet and make the pairings and seed the teams and create the schedule. Right now, if you go on KHSA, it just says that it's happening. So it'll say something like Shelby Valley versus TBD or something like that. So
right.
Just for the sake of filling out that schedule. But yeah, it'll be sometime next month.
Good deal.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, what did you guys think of the UK game last night?
That's my next question. What did you think about Kentucky to win? Me and Coach Sparks, I think we've given our full opinions. Let's hear yours, because I think it was I thought the defense came to play.
I agree. The defense is stout, and that, I expect that out of a Mark Stoops coach team. Gotta clean it up though. Can't have so many turnovers like that. I mean, that you saw that against Chattanooga. And the one thing I do like about this team is that their ability to bounce back after turnover. I mean, usually if they have a turnover, at least early on, I didn't catch too much of the Chattanooga game, but usually when they have a turnover, they bounce back the next drive and score. But you can't have turnovers in the first place. I mean, you can do that against Chattanooga and South Carolina and probably be okay. Can't do that against Florida. Can't do that probably against LSU. So, I mean, that's some things that I'm going to have to, listen for with Stoops tomorrow when he has his news conference, is how are they going to clean stuff up? What are they learning? What's going on offensively? Is it bad reads? What's going on? So that's the biggest thing with me with this team.
I know Camille is going to the Florida game. Is that right?
As is Courtney. They'll both be there, and I'll be in Hazard anchoring.
So you'll be by yourself on Friday night for Sports Overtime?
Yes, I will. I was by myself last night too.
Okay.
So,
I was going to, I made an announcement here last week. Any coaches is basketball, girls or boys, that knows of panoramas or scrimmages that you won't mention on this show, I said I would do that. Coach Derek Newsom of Betsy Lane, the boys coach, sent me a panorama that is going to be going on November 20th at Johnson Central High School. The opponents, I have got them here, and I told Coach Newsom I would mention this every show. And since you're here, you may want to maybe put this in your date book.
That's what I'm doing now. So this is Johnson Central?
Panorama, 20th at Johnson Central, teams to be announced. Now, I have a second panorama. There's going to be one on the 24th, and this one's at Betsy Lane. And these are the games you're going to see, and I think these are all boys. Shelby Valley is going to take on Letcher Central in the first game. Johnson Central is going to take on Cordia in game 2. Eastridge is going to take on Breathitt County in game 3. Knox, KONX Central is going to take on Pikeville in game 4.
Ooh, like that game.
Belfry is going to take on Ashland in game 5. And then the nightcap, Betsy Lane is going to take on Perry Central. Oh, I'm sorry, there's one more game. He don't have a team for that game on game 7. So the 6 games are on the 24th of November, Shelby Valley versus Letcher Central, Johnson Central versus Cordia, Eastridge versus Breathitt County, Pikeville versus Knox, KONX Central, Belfry versus Ashland, and Betsy Lane takes on Perry Central. Now,
got it.
I told Coach Newsom I will mention this every week. He is also going to get back with me on the Johnson Central panorama. Will let me know who's going to be in it and what teams are going to be there. So,
sounds
Coach
good.
Parks, if you know any scrimmages for us, our boys, or any big things coming up, we can announce it on the show. I'd like to go ahead and get that out there.
I think I was telling you maybe when I saw you on Friday, is the 24th the Wednesday before Thanksgiving? Is that the 24th?
I believe so.
We're playing it.
24th on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're playing in a panorama at Floyd Central.
Okay.
And we play Floyd Central. I can't give you the pairings. I've got it somewhere, but not with me. But I believe Owsley, Knott, and Letcher are all playing teams from outside our region in that. I think there's 4 games. And the pairings were, it should be get to see some good girls basketball, good teams. And then we're going, to Pineville to scrimmage. I think it's on a Friday, either the 19th or 20th, whatever that is. But that's it's not a panorama. It's just a regular scrimmage.
Okay. I like that. I'm just that one from Betsy Lane that CJ was mentioning. I like that Knox Painesville game. if it's boys, because what it was Knox knocked out Paintsville in the Sweet 16 last year, didn't they?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
So that's interesting scrimmage right off the bat, right there.
Yeah.
You know, Coach Sparks is talking about the scrimmage at Floyd Central. That sounds like it's going to be some nice teams even on the girls' side. So that'll be a good day to check it out.
Yeah,
For sure. Yeah, that'll be.
Let's see if I've covered all my bases with you, John. I'll let you about the Florida game, and I'll let you go. What do you think about the Florida? What's Kentucky got to do to win?
Well, like I mentioned, got to button it up. They can't have turnovers. They can't make mistakes. Haven't seen too much of Florida. I know they have a good running game. They showed it off against Tennessee last night. But I mean, just knowing what Dan Mullen's coach team is capable of, just knowing what Florida did against Alabama, I mean, they got to button it up. I mean, you can't have just a interception like that. Like, I mean, Levis has had 6 or 7 now.
Mm-hmm.
Can't have that against Florida. I'm not really too worried about the defense. I think defensively this team is stout. It's always been like that on a Mark Stoops coach team, but I mean, you got to button it up. And, the crowd's got to be loud. I mean, this is Kentucky, Florida. You got to go to Kroger. You can't have it be like it was against Chattanooga. So excited to see it. I mean, it'll be, 6 o'clock? 6 o'clock national television audience. And, should be a great atmosphere in Lexington. I'm looking forward to seeing them win.
Well, I am too. It's going to be a good ball game. 6 o'clock on ESPN, and it should be a lot of fun. John?
Florida, the guys hasn't, the first half against Tennessee, man, they didn't look like they were all that great. Now they played well the second half. And the Alabama game, Alabama jumped out on them like it was going to be a beat down, and then Alabama's got kind of a young team. It's kind of like they lit up in the second half and Florida jumped back in. We haven't been consistent. Florida hasn't been particularly consistent. Whichever team, I think, can put together the best complete game, is going to win that game.
Mm. Mistake-free football. That's what it's going to take, though. Both teams.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you play mistake-free football, you got a chance of winning.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Again, supposed to be Hazard and Somerset for the game of the week on WYMT. Check that out. So unless there's a change, they'll let you know. They'll have their new top 10 tomorrow. Their top 10 as of this week was Corbin 1, Pikeville 2, North Laurel 3, Southwestern 4, Lecture Central 5, Johnson Central 6, Middlesboro 7th, Lawrence County 8, Pulaskis County 9th, and Williamsburg 10th. So I don't expect many changes. Probably just maybe a placement of a team here and there, but we'll check it out tomorrow night. That should be a lot of fun. John, I'm going to have you on standby because I think Camille was telling me she was going to try to be back in town, but she couldn't. Courtney will try to be here. If not, if neither one of them could be here, then I can count on you to help them out, right?
No, yeah, we'll figure it out. Someone from our sports office will be here next week. So
okay, just let me know, and I know who to send the invitation to on Friday, and we'll go from there.
All right, sure. Thanks, CJ. Thanks for having me on short
notice. Always.
Yeah.
It's always good to have you guys on here, and you guys be safe this week and have fun shooting your games.
Yep, sure thing. See you at Clay County. If you go to Clay County, I'll see you there.
I debating if I'm going to go or not. I want to go. I really do. I'd like to check it out maybe, but I don't know yet. It all depends on how I feel in the morning. So
fair enough.
Okay.
Well, see ya.
Thank you, John. See you.
Bye.
All right. John Lowe, sports director at WYMT. Coach Sparks, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to finish your notes. I'll let you give your final comments, and then we'll get out of here.
CJ,
go ahead.
I need to give Coach Collin a shout out. He's the one that hollered at me and said, you need to get on there with CJ tonight and help him out a little bit. He's looking for somebody. Shout out to Coach Collin. He's working hard and doing a good job.
Coach Collin is going to be with me on the 31st of October.
He told me that. Thanks to Missy for getting me hooked up here and ready to go. And I think Matt and Zach and Shelby were all listening from far away. So, shout out to them. And my sister Sherry, I see her on here. And Ron
Even
Davis,
on her whole bunch,
Bengals shirt.
never
Go
come in.
Bengals. Go Bengals. Big win today.
Yes. Do not leave me. I still want you to give some more final comments.
All right.
I want to thank everybody that watched the show, made phone calls, left us comments. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank our guests. We had what a great guest list we had. Coach McDaniels from Knox Central, Coach Larkey from North Laurel, Coach Drummond, Jim Drummond from Cats Illustrated, and of course John filling in for Courtney because she had no internet. Again, I want to graciously and thank him, Coach Larry Sparks, for being my co-host. Now I'm going to let him give his final thoughts in just a second. I want to remind everybody, go to my YouTube page. I've got a YouTube page. I need you to go subscribe to my channel. If I can get 1,000 subscribers, we can do a lot more live stuff over there. Also, there's a chance that if I'm on there long enough, they'll eventually get some T-shirts and merchandise that you can buy and help me out there. So that would help me tremendously. I'll be back with you Wednesday night, September 29th, for week 6 of the CJ High School Football Report. Don't know what time because I don't know how I'll be getting on. We'll go over week 6's rankings, RPIs, and much, much more. That'll be on Wednesday night, 29th. I'll be back with you next Sunday night on October the 3rd with episode number 9. I can tell you who my co-host is going to be. It's going to be Scott Cornett, the head boys basketball coach, or head men basketball coach at Alice Lloyd. He's going to join me. And I can tell you one of my guests, Coach Jerry Herron, Williamsburg, is going to be with me. So we'll have much, much more, too, on next Sunday night. Coach Sparks, go ahead and give me your final thoughts, and we'll get out of here.
CJ, just thanks for having me. And I want to say this. You've came so far with your show since you started a year ago. I mean, it just everything is so much better. You know, the way it looks and the quality of sound, and you're getting great guests. I'm just so proud of you and what you're doing and the way you're helping to promote our kids here in Eastern Kentucky. They need that, and you're doing it. You're just filling a void there that we've had for a while. And I personally just greatly appreciate it. Appreciate you, and thank you for all you've done. And you know, we got good sports, we got good players, good kids here in Eastern Kentucky. We need to promote them.
I want to say thank you so much to you for coming at the last moment. You were like a savior. I always say God will always help you when you need him. And
Amen.
He brought you my way. And do not leave me when we're done. I'm going to talk to you off the air when we're done.
Okay.
So, as I always do, I end every show with this famous saying. This is CJ Howard, running third and heading for home. Good night, everybody. And I'll see you next Wednesday. I'll see you Wednesday night for the sports report, and next Sunday night for episode 9 of the CJ Howard Show. Good night, everybody.